Hi and welcome to another battle report. It's another game intended to prepare both me and my opponent for Lincon. The opponent is once again Gustav and his dwarves, and we have both made some minor tweaks on our list since last time. I brought back the great weapons on my Raven cloaks since I wanted my opponents to at least think twice about charging any unit in those. And I come to the conclusion that it was worth it instead of one more body in the unit. I also added a lucky shield to the BSB and swapped a dancer for a legionnaire. Gustav has swapped his cannon for another organ gun and brought a bomber at the expense of some deep watch and seekers. He has also made his characters a bit more killy and slightly less tanky, so some small changes there. For this game we played Counterthrust and Hold the Ground. He chose side, which gave me the opportunity to influence his deploy quite a lot with the Counterthrust rules, as I decided to start by deploying one raider unit high up on the left, with the intention of either force him down to that corner or make him deploy on the other flank, which in turn would give me better protection from his shooting. It worked quite well since he started by deploying all his war machines in the forest at the top of the board. To me that felt rather good, since that would make it possible for me to avoid his artillery for most of the game. Other than that, from his left he deployed his marksmen, seekers which he vanguarded forward. Then he had his blocks on either side of the Buddha Impossible, with deep watch and characters taking the right side. Lastly, he has the lone bomber far to his right. On my side from the left we have the Raven cloaks, the dancers with the general and the assassin, raiders BSB with the spears, acolytes at the back of my board edge, and corsairs furthest to my right. My intention is to stay as far away as possible from his shooting, with the initial plan to deal with his exposed units and then delaying combat until I can get the matchup I want, and hopefully making better use of my raiders this time than I did in the last game. So that's the goal for now. He gets the first turn, as I have a lot more drops than him, and this time he starts off by advancing rather aggressively already at the first turn, and seekers making it all the way to the forest. All the war machines are also making their way forward, since they are not in range, and he realized that I won't move any closer. On his right it looks like this. I dispel Gleaming, and that is the only spell in range, so nothing there. For shooting, only the bomber is in range, and it kills two of my raiders who passed their panic. In my turn I move my damage raiders so that all my shooting gets a clear shot at his chopper. On the right the corsairs turn to shoot, while I move one acolyte unit in range of the seekers. My plan is to flee with those if he decides to charge me, so the only ones that can't avoid being charged by the seekers are the corsairs, but hopefully there won't be so many seekers left at that point. For magic I get Pyroclastic Flow off on the bomber, and it causes 2 wounds. That felt rather good at the time, but after I lost 44 shots on it and nothing got through, I felt rather disappointed instead. Only the Skull Splitter did something and took out one seeker at least. On his turn everything doesn't go his way either, as he first failed a charge on the Corsairs, and then his bomber only kills one raider while flying over them. Other than that, he continues to advance. His anvil killed 4 acolytes with the rune of shattering. His marksman failed to kill the last acolyte, since my ward save rolls are awesome, and that is all the shooting he has. When it's my turn again, I move the raiders around his flank, still keeping them close enough to divert if I have to. I hope for better luck this time and leave the bomber to be dealt with by the assassin and the Ravencloaks. On the right, things look about the same, with the acolytes and corsairs trying to deal with the seekers. I think this turn he rolled a bunch of 6s on his seekers, but for the ward save. But at least I got 3 down and 1 wound on his dragon seeker. The assassin killed the bomber, but other than that I can't kill anything. So next his seekers make charge again on the corsairs, but at least I killed the regular one with the standard shoot. Other than that, he continues forward with everything, including the organ guns, who still aren't in range. I think his magic phase failed badly this turn, and none of his shooting could do anything. His dragon seeker, on the other hand, killed 4 corsairs, who fortunately held on steadfast. I don't want his Seeker Lord to be able to charge in his next turn, so I decide to lock him up by sacrificing my Acolyte Champ in a charge. I'm also not ready to take on his block, so I use the Raiders as intended for once and chaff his units up with a double flee. Magic and shooting killed some deep watch. In combat my champ challenge and die, and the courses stick on steadfast, which was all I could hope for. So all good there. Since he starts by charging the raiders with the greybeards, next I managed to chaff both his blocks as I flee from the deep watch with both later on. He redirects against the spears but need an 11 and don't get it, so 2 failed charges there and things goes according to plan. Magic and he get gleaming off on the deep watch. I don't intend to fight them, so I let that one through and dispel the rest. In combat the Seeker Lord kills 5 corsairs, but the last one actually sticks on a 3, so not that it mattered that much since it's one more combat, but anyway. In my turn 4 I decide it's time to risk some combat. I take the BSB with the spears into his greybeards. They are also joined by the general, and the remaining acolytes gets in the flank. The raiders rally and are back to shaft the deep watch again. For magic I got 7 power dice to his 4. I really wanted the breath to go off, and since I was afraid that unit would stick. So, but nevertheless I took the rather stupid risk of throwing 5 dice on it, and then I get a miscast. The miscast kills the champ and 2 more, so that was completely worthless. Shooting kills a bunch of deep watch. In combat I totally wreck the greybeards and run them down. It's his turn 5 and he chases away the raiders, catching one of them and then pivots. For magic he gets Rune of Storm off on my acolytes, but as you can see my ward saves work really well. For the first time this game his organ guns get to shoot, but the first one decides to misfire. The other one rolls really bad. When he rolls 3 wounds in, I roll like this. The marksman on the other hand kill 4 spears. Sadly a rather blurry picture, but this is how it looks when I start off my turn 5. I charge the acolytes into his closest organ gun, which hopefully is enough to at least hold it up for his last turn. I marched the spears up to claim the objective, and in the process preventing his marksman from contesting it. I decided to turn the dancers around and hide them behind a hill instead of taking a risky combat with the deep watch. Everything else positioned safely and are planning to shoot. It's magic, and I think I got Pyroclastic Flow up on his Seeker Lord, causing another wound, but he still has one left. Shooting kills a few deep watch, and in combat I do one wound to the organ gun, but it sticks. It's his last turn, and the Seeker Lord charged the flank of my dancers. The deep watch can't see anything, so they just turn around. With shooting and magic he gets my spears down to 5, but that is enough to win the objective as they don't panic, so that wasn't too bad. In combat his Seeker only killed one dancer, so I don't even have to take a break test, and instead I reform. The Acolytes do another wound, but still can't break the organ gun. So we're now at the very last turn, and I charge the BSB into the unengaged organ gun and make it. I angle it so it will overrun into the next, as I hope to get as many points as possible now this last round. I don't think I get any magic off, and in shooting I aim to cause a panic test and succeed, but no surprise that he passes it with his 10 up rerollable. In combat I still can't get a wound in on the Seeker, since he is a master at rolling his 6 up ward save, but on the other hand he doesn't do much to me either. On the other flank then, the BSB round down the first organ gun, and it overruns into the other and does the same to that one. So this is a rather awful picture to end an otherwise nice game with. At least I thought it nice, but we didn't count the points, but it was a very big win for the Dread Elves, as both got the objective and a huge point advantage. This win felt especially good since I vindicated myself from playing so badly in the last game. Can't put a finger on much I did wrong in this game, except for a risky Breath of Corruption. And other than that I succeeded very well with the use of the Raiders. It's probably what I did best in this game. Gustav played mostly the same way as last game, and I can't blame him since that worked very well last time. But I think I would have had a very hard time if he had played his army in a tighter way. To be able to avoid his organ guns for 4 turns is rather huge as well. Gives me a big advantage. Well, I still hope for some more practice games, but at least I got a good feeling at the moment, so see you soon.